For so many veterans, the trauma of what they saw and encountered in combat is something that never leaves them. Veteran Steve Jones experienced post-traumatic stress disorder a few years after coming home from serving in Iraq and found that art helped him deal with his pain. Jones sat down with Carolee McGrath and spoke about his Westfield nonprofit, Warriors Art Room, and how it's helping veterans and their families heal.
We're the Warriors Art Room. We're based out of Westfield, and what we are is we provide veterans and their families with studio space, all the supplies, and any instruction that they need to make pretty much any type of art that they want to make. And we do that because we thought it was important that we give the veterans many of who are struggling with PTSD and combat stress and battle fatigue, and then just to give them an opportunity to do something with their lives other than turning to drugs and alcohol in stressful situations.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a Marine. You served in Iraq. We want to thank you for your service. When you came home, what things were you dealing with, and how did art help you? So
when I came home from Iraq in 2005, I served 4 more years in the Marines. I thought everything was fine, honestly. When 2012 hit, I don't know what happened at that point, but I was experiencing loneliness, sadness, depression, and bouts of just like helplessness, and I didn't understand it. And it turned out that many of my friends that I served with are experiencing the same thing at the same time, and I don't know what the connection was, but when some of them started committing suicide, I decided that I was going to go back to school and try to help myself, but also to help my fellow service members who served. So I went back to HCC for psychology, and in that I had to take humanities because it's a humanities-rich study. And I took art. I had no prior art experience before that, and what I found was that through the methods that I was taught to create, it pretty much erased all those feelings that I had. So my shift has now changed from being a clinical psychologist to being more of an art therapist and providing a therapeutic experience for other veterans and their families to make the art.
So it relieved your anxiety, helped with your depression as you started to get creative?
Yep. So this painting in particular, when I created it, it erased all the feelings. I was taught to paint my feelings and my emotions. And so what I did is I just let the colors go where they wanted to. I put them with added water, let them go, and then I interpreted what I saw. And what I saw in that painting was actually myself and the first casualty evacuation that I had received in Iraq. So I don't know if this gentleman that is in this picture is alive or dead, but now he's going to live forever, at least in this painting.
Do you feel that, or what have you heard, I should say, from other veterans who have come in and that you've worked with?
People come in skeptical. You know, like the military is really ego-driven, and art is not a macho thing to do generally. So what I found is that these guys and girls that come in have some anxiety and some apprehension in creating art because most of the people are not artists. They're looking to try anything that they think might help them. And what they're finding is they're getting to make visual representations of what they've been bottling up inside. And once they get it out, a lot of them they just want to talk about, you know, what they've been pushing down and suppressing all those years. And a lot of other people come and they're just, you know, brought in by the camaraderie that they can experience again with people who served, people who have experiences that are similar to theirs. It's, you know, a completely stress-free environment. We're not expecting anybody to be a master artist. Many of them, you know, have the potential to be, but, you know, most of it is just, you know, we come in to have fun. Art should be fun. Fun is a 4-letter word. Art's a 4-letter word. So it can be fun.
And this is also for families, including children as
including
well?
Children. In fact, we just did a whole rash of children's birthday parties, you know, for veterans. So we show up at their house and we did art with their kids, and that's a lot of fun. It's a little stressful for me, but it is a lot of fun. And so what we found is that when I was deployed, anyway, my wife was home, and she had an entire set of different battles that were going on at home. Kids are asking, you know, when's Dad coming home? She's telling them, you know, I don't know. In fact, she didn't She didn't even know if I was gonna come home. So, you know, there's mental struggles there too. And then when the veteran and the soldier does come home, he's probably different than when he left, because he's experienced things, he's done things, he's seen things that will change them. And so we felt it was important that we include the spouse or the family members in the creation of this, so that, one, they can reconnect with their veteran, they can do something together, and two, it helps with their own anxiety and their own stress, and it gives them a safe place to do that, and it's pretty special.
When you think about, you know, all of your friends that you were talking about who experienced, you know, PTSD as you did, some of your friends who you lost to suicide, what is your message to people who, you know, were not in the military or not in military families, you know, who might not realize, you know, that this is a lifelong, you know, process, and these memories will stay with you?
So what I would say to them is, you know, just be cognizant of, you know, there's things that they have experienced and seen that the normal everyday person isn't ever even thought about, and they're going to bring those home, and they are not going to be prepared to talk about those things because they could be so horrific, or they could feel like they're at fault for some of the stuff that they've seen or done. And, you know, just be aware, be sensitive, and understand that, you know, they're going to go through things, and that, you know, it's not easy.